Good morning. Welcome to WWDC. Now, we have a lot to talk about today, and I do mean a lot. We have 6 important announcements to share with you this morning, and I'll start with tvOS. We're really thrilled to announce that Amazon is coming to the TV app and all Apple TVs later this year with Amazon Prime Video. Number 2, let's talk about Apple Watch.
So watchOS is moving forward really quickly, and I'm very excited to introduce watchOS 4 today. This is the new Siri watch face. Now it automatically displays the information that's most relevant to you, and you can also access Siri just by tapping on the new complication on the top left. And it automatically displays this information with the same type of intelligence we've applied on iOS. We're using machine learning to adapt automatically based on your routines and the apps that you use when you use them. Now, sometimes you might like kind of less information and more graphics, and that's the soul of the new kaleidoscope face. It displays a beautiful, symmetrical pattern that slowly changes throughout the day. And you can rotate the crown, and you can get this kind of trippy effect whenever you want. Now, Mickey and Minnie have been a big hit on Apple Watch, and more characters have been working to find their way in. And I'm really excited to welcome Woody and Jessie and Buzz. watchOS 4 activity notifications are more personalized to you to help you close your rings more often. We're also introducing monthly challenges. These challenges are designed to help you either beat or repeat something that you accomplished or came close to doing, and they're all achievable because they're based on your real history. Now, we've also enhanced the workout app to be even easier to use and more powerful. Starting with the new UI, where quick start's right up front, you can just tap and go. It's much easier. We're enabling, for the first time, two-way data exchange in real time with gym equipment. Now, this is being supported by the largest gym manufacturers in the world, who provide about 80% of equipment in gyms today. And Apple Watch-enabled equipment will be rolling out starting this fall. With the new music app, we're going to automatically sync music for you based on what you love to listen to. So you can easily play your music now, and we support multiple playlists and music on the watch now. There's a lot more coming in watchOS 4, including, for example, a new flashlight in the control center, which you can also use as a blinking safety light when you're doing an evening run. And we're also now supporting native core Bluetooth on the watch. So, for example, continuous glucose monitoring directly from Dexcom sensor to your watch. Developer preview is available today, so you can get going. And there's a free upgrade for everyone across all watches this fall.
Now, let's talk about a product that in many ways is the heart and soul of Apple. And of course, I'm talking about the Mac.
It's my privilege to announce for you today macOS High Sierra. Now, you know, sometimes you go to read an article, and instead of finding something to read, you get this. Just some loud audio and video that auto plays and disrupts your whole reading vibe. Well, now, don't worry about it because we have autoplay blocking in Safari. Now, have you ever had this experience where you go to buy something on the web, you even complete the purchase, and then it seems like everywhere you go on the web, it just follows you around? It kind of feels like you're being tracked. And that's because you are. No longer, because Safari has intelligent tracking prevention. Search in Mail is now using Spotlight to identify your top hits, so the message you're looking for is almost always right there at the top. And if you're into using Mail in full screen, well, now we support split view for your compose window. It's a great way to compose Mail. Photos has some great new organization and editing tools. There's a persistent sidebar and a new view that has all your imports in chronological order. And we've also improved Faces. It recognizes far more faces automatically using advanced convolutional neural networks. And when you put effort into categorizing and naming people, well, that's now synchronized automatically across all your devices. Now, we also have some great enhancements to editing inside of Photos. So you can see here on the right-hand side, all of your editing tools are arrayed, and there are a bunch of great new ones. Because if you like to do edits in a pro tool like Pixelmator or Photoshop, well, now when you punch out to that other editing tool, all of your edits automatically synchronize right back to your photo library. So I'm pleased to announce that we're bringing the Apple file system to macOS as our new default. We're really doubling down on our focus on pro content creation. And that's increasingly about VR. content creation. And so we're bringing Metal for VR to High Sierra. We're optimizing our pro apps like Final Cut for doing things like editing spherical video right inside the VR environment. We're also working with Valve. They're bringing the Steam VR SDK to the Mac. And we've worked with Unity and Unreal to bring their engines for VR to the Mac. Now, macOS High Sierra is available for all of you today as a developer beta. And if you sign up at beta.apple.com, we'll also have a public beta available later this month. And of course, it's shipping to everyone as a free upgrade this fall on all systems that support Sierra.
Now, the iMac has been the gold standard of desktops for many years, but we're going to raise the bar once again. So we'll start with the CPU, because the whole line is moving to Intel's 7th generation core processor, also known as Kaby Lake. So the 21.5-inch systems can now be configured with up to 32 gigs of memory, and the 27-inch can go all the way up to 64 gigabytes of memory. So we're going to now make our Fusion drive standard on all 27-inch configs. And it's also going to be standard on the high-end 21.5-inch config as well. In addition, our SSD options are going to be up to 50% faster and now available up to 2 terabytes. And the iMacs are getting an I/O upgrade as well, because we're giving them 2 USB-C connectors which support Thunderbolt 3. We're going to bring even more value to the iMac product line. For the first time ever, we're going to have a 4K iMac that starts at just $12.99. But the updates don't stop with just the iMac, because we're refreshing our notebooks today as well, because we're moving to Kaby Lake here as well. And we're bringing faster SSDs to our MacBook and faster standard graphics to the 15-inch MacBook Pro. But just like the iMac, we're going to bring more value here as well, because we're going to have a new configuration of the 13-inch MacBook Pro that also starts at just $12.99. So that is the new iMac Pro. Now, the first thing you'll notice, it features the same great design as our 27-inch iMac, but it's in this seriously badass space gray finish. So we're going to offer it with up to 18 cores. So the iMac Pro is going to use AMD's Radeon Vega graphics. This is their brand new workstation class graphics architecture. It's going to be available with up to 16 gigabytes of VRAM and over 400 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth. But we didn't want to stop there either. So we're going to let you configure it with up to 128 gigabytes of ECC memory. That's twice what you can do in a standard 27-inch iMac. Now, the iMac Pro is also going to have a full complement of high-performance I/O, including 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and for the first time ever in any Mac, built-in 10 gigabit Ethernet. Well, this is the starting configuration of the iMac Pro, and we're going to price it at just $49.99. And it's going to be available in December.
Hello again. Let's talk about iOS 11. We're going to start with messages. With your iMessages in iCloud, when you sign in to another new device, well, all of your conversations are automatically synchronized. Apple Pay for person-to-person payments. Now, it's super simple because it's integrated right in to Messages as an iMessage app. So next, let's turn to Siri. Now, we've used deep learning now to create a really natural and expressive voice for Siri, and I'd like you to hear it.
Here's the forecast for the next 10 days. Sunny, sunny, and sunny.
3 different ways to say sunny. Very powerful. Now, Siri also has a new capability, which is translation. So you can now ask something like, how do you say, what are the most popular dishes in your restaurant in Chinese? And Siri can say,
你们餐厅有哪些菜最受欢迎？
totally. In iOS 11, Siri uses on-device learning to understand more about topics of interest to us. So it can actually suggest topics we might be interested in learning about in news. And what Siri learns about you on-device is now kept synced across all of your devices. So you're dealing with one Siri, but of course, this is kept completely private, readable only by you and your devices. With the iPhone 7 Plus, we love taking these beautiful portrait photos. And now, with iOS 11, we can take low-light photographs using optical image stabilization, True Tone Flash, HDR, delivers incredible image quality. And we're taking the depth information that we can capture with 2 cameras and exposing it to developers with a new depth API, which has allowed them to do incredibly fun and artistic photos like this using the depth API. So these are some of the big features in iOS 11. There's one other, which is a major redesign to Control Center. And what you'll notice is Control Center is now a single page, packs all the features into a single page, but it provides greater depth because with 3D touch in on a slider like this and get access to more controls. When you install iOS 11, we're going to use Bluetooth to understand if you're connected to a car, or even if you don't have Bluetooth, we're going to use Wi-Fi Doppler effect to measure that you're moving in a car. And when you finish that first drive, we're going to suggest, hey, how about we activate Do Not Disturb while driving? And when we do, instead of seeing all those notifications, we have this new user interface for you. You'll now be able to configure your speakers inside of HomeKit and access them via our new AirPlay 2 protocol. It builds multi-room audio in throughout iOS. Next, I'd like to turn to AR. And we have a new core technology called ARKit to bring it to all of you. What we see here is an iPhone that's using its camera, but using computer vision, it's actually able to identify surfaces, such as this table, and I can actually just add an object. This is a developer application, a test application that you'll all be getting code for that allows you to do these things. Now, this is just a virtual object on this table. Now, got some steam in there coming off the cup. Now, I can add other objects to the scene, and these things can actually interact. Let's add a lamp. And I want you to watch when I turn the lamp on the dynamic shadows here. I'm going to move the cup and watch how the shadow moves in relationship to the light here. It's really pretty incredible.
This is the new iPad Pro. It's the first iPad Pro with a larger 10.5-inch Retina display. It's the perfect size to allow us to display a full-size on-screen keyboard. It's also the perfect size to allow us to have a full-size smart keyboard as well. Now, iPad Pro has always had the best displays in the industry, and both sizes are going to get really incredible new displays today. They're packed with incredible features like True Tone for automatic white balance, P3 wide color gamut for the best color, ultra-low reflectivity, the best in the industry. And they're 50% brighter with 600 nits. And this extra brightness and the P3 wide color gamut means that with iOS 11, you'll be able to display HDR video for the first time on an iPad for a really immersive cinematic experience. They're truly awesome displays. Now, typically, up until today, mobile displays have refreshed at 60 Hertz, means they update their content 60 times every second. Well, on the new iPad Pro, we've doubled that maximum refresh rate to an incredible 120 Hertz. Now, the higher refresh rate also means that it works even better with the Apple Pencil. It's more responsive and it reduces our latency to an industry best 20 milliseconds. Inside them, they're powered by the A10X Fusion chip. The A10X has a 6-core CPU, 3 high-performance cores, 3 high-efficiency cores, all automatically managed by the Apple Performance Controller. It also has a 12-core GPU. This is a powerhouse. And it delivers 30% faster CPU performance over our already industry-leading A9X and 40% faster graphics performance. And what's also cool is despite all this performance, the new iPad Pro still delivers the same all-day 10-hour battery life that our iPad users love. The new iPad Pro features the latest camera system from our iPhone 7. That means the same high-performance 12 megapixel sensor with optical image stabilization. And the 10.5-inch with 64 gigs will now be at $649, and it's just $150 more to move up to the bigger display at $799. So this is the new iPad Pro. You can order them today. They'll start shipping next week.
We are taking iOS to the next level. This is the largest iOS release for iPad we've ever done. Now, it starts with the dock. And we all know that dock hovering down there at the bottom of the screen. It is more powerful than ever. You can fill it with apps. On the right, there's a predictive area. Figures out what you're going to use next, including your continuity apps. And now you can summon the dock from anywhere, right from the bottom of the screen, and use it for switching apps just like that. And what's incredible is how it's used for multitasking. So now if you're in an app and you swipe up, well, you can pull an app out just like that into Slide Over. And so we're so excited to bring drag and drop to iPad. You can drag images, you can drag text, you can drag URLs, you can multi-select and multi-hand drag. It's a drag fest. You can now flick on keys to access punctuation and numbers, all without switching planes. It's super fast and super easy. Now, we have a new app to introduce to you today, and it's called Files. Files brings together all your files on your iPad. It supports everything you'd expect: nested folders, spring loading, list view, favorites, search, tags, and it has this beautiful recents view that pulls it all together across all of your sources. Because it supports not only iCloud, it also supports third-party storage providers like Box, Dropbox, OneDrive, and Google Drive. Next, I want to talk about Apple Pencil, because Apple Pencil has really created a whole new way of working on iPad. Now, it starts with markup, because you can mark up anything you can quick look. Now, we've also integrated Pencil deeply into Notes. So if you're working on a note and later you're at the lock screen, you want to get back, just a tap of the pencil to the lock screen and you're right back into your note. And we've made your note handwritten text searchable. So we can now search handwriting. We use deep learning to recognize what you write. And if you're doing primarily typed notes, you can now also do inline drawings right there. Now, iOS 11 is available to all of you developers today. And if you sign up at beta.apple.com, you can get a beta at the end of the month. And we're making it available as a free upgrade to everyone in the fall. It supports all of these devices.
We've got one last thing to talk to you about. Just like we did with portable music, we want to reinvent home music.
It is absolutely beautiful, and we call it HomePod. The HomePod is just under 7 inches tall. It's covered in a seamless 3D mesh fabric that has incredible acoustic properties. Along the bottom is a 7-array beamform tweeter pack that's packed with 7 tweeters, each with their own individual driver. It has a really big woofer, a 4-inch woofer, upward facing with a large motor to move a lot of air. And all of this is controlled by an Apple A8 chip. It works with an array of 6 microphones around the middle. So as you talk to it and you say those magic words, "Hey Siri," you see a waveform light up on top, and now it can respond to your commands and help serve up the music you want to hear. And since Siri's built in there and you can speak to it, well, the team's also worked hard to make it a great and helpful home assistant as well. And because there is a HomePod base, a HomeKit base built into HomePod, that means anywhere in the world, once you've set up your first HomePod, you control your HomeKit devices remotely using the built-in Home app on your iPhone or iPad. So we're really excited to tell you that HomePod is going to be priced for $349. It comes in white and space gray. It'll start shipping this December, first in the US, UK, and Australia, and then next year we'll start bringing it around the world.
It's been an incredible morning. I hope everyone here has a fantastic week. Thank you. Thank you.